The Mountain Adventure. In a small village at the foot of towering mountains, there lived a girl named Emma. Emma loved the mountains. Every morning, she would look at the peaks, dreaming of climbing them one day. The mountains were covered in snow, and their beauty called to her. One bright summer morning, Emma decided it was time for an adventure. She packed a bag with food, water, and a warm jacket. She also took her notebook to write about her journey. Emma told her parents about her plan. They were worried but knew how much she loved the mountains. "Be careful, Emma," her mother said, hugging her tightly. "And come back before it gets dark." "I will, Mom," Emma promised. She waved goodbye and started her climb. The path up the mountain was steep and rocky. Emma walked carefully, listening to the sounds of nature. She heard birds singing and the wind whispering through the trees. The fresh mountain air filled her lungs, making her feel alive and happy. As she climbed higher, Emma saw a stream flowing down the mountain. The water was clear and cold. She took a sip and felt refreshed. Emma sat by the stream for a while, writing in her notebook about the beautiful things she had seen so far. After resting, Emma continued her journey. The path became narrower and steeper. She used her hands to steady herself, climbing over large rocks and through thick bushes. Despite the challenges, she felt determined to reach the top. Halfway up the mountain, Emma found a small cave. It was cool and dark inside. She decided to take a break and eat some of her food. As she sat at the entrance of the cave, she looked out over the valley below. The village looked tiny from up here, and she felt proud of how far she had come. Emma finished her meal and stood up, ready to continue. As she climbed higher, the air grew colder. She put on her warm jacket and kept going. The snow-covered peaks were now much closer, and she could see the sun reflecting off the ice, creating a dazzling display. Finally, after many hours of climbing, Emma reached the top of the mountain. She stood on the peak, looking out over the vast landscape. The view was breathtaking. She could see other mountains in the distance, their peaks reaching up to the sky. The valley below was a patchwork of green fields and blue rivers. Emma felt a sense of accomplishment and joy. She took out her notebook and wrote about her journey, describing the beauty she saw from the top of the mountain. She knew she would remember this moment forever. As the sun began to set, Emma knew it was time to head back. She carefully started her descent, following the same path she had taken up. The shadows grew longer, and the air became cooler. She walked quickly, knowing she needed to reach the village before dark. On her way down, Emma heard a rustling sound in the bushes. She stopped and saw a family of deer. They looked at her with curiosity but did not run away. Emma watched them for a moment, feeling a connection with the wild creatures of the mountain. Continuing her descent, Emma finally reached the base of the mountain. The village lights were twinkling in the distance, welcoming her home. She felt tired but happy. Her adventure had been everything she dreamed of and more. When Emma returned home, her parents were waiting for her with worried expressions. "Oh, Emma, we were so worried," her mother said, hugging her tightly. "I'm safe, Mom. And I had the most amazing adventure," Emma replied. She shared her story with her family, telling them about the stream, the cave, and the view from the top. That night, Emma lay in her bed, thinking about the mountains. She knew that this was just the beginning of her adventures. There were many more peaks to climb and places to explore. The mountains had taught her about strength, determination, and the beauty of nature. From that day on, Emma became known as the girl who loved the mountains. She inspired others in the village to explore and appreciate the natural beauty around them. Her notebook filled with stories of her adventures, and she continued to dream of new heights to reach. The mountains stood tall and majestic, a constant reminder of the wonders that awaited those who dared to climb. And Emma, with her adventurous spirit, was ready to answer their call again and again.